Let's stop pretending every piece of gear with tactical on the label is survival ready. You're not prepping to look cool, you're prepping to stay alive. And if your gear can't hold up under pressure, it's not just a bad buy, it's a liability. Today, we're calling out the fake prepper gear that's wasting your money and could cost you way more when it really counts. Let's be honest, the prepping world has a serious gear problem. Every week, there's a new must-have survival tool being pushed with big promises, flashy packaging, and fake urgency. But when the grid's down, the panic's real. And it's go time. Those gimmicky products don't just fail, they can get you killed. According to a 2023 study by the National Preparedness Foundation, over 63% of new preppers admitted to buying at least one survival item that turned out to be useless or broke during basic testing. That's not just wasted money, that's false confidence. And false confidence in a crisis is deadly. We're talking about multi-tools that snap under pressure, flashlights that die after 30 minutes, survival backpacks that rip during your first bug-out drill. It's all marketing, no grit. And the sad part? A lot of these fake prepper items are sold at premium prices, wrapped in tactical branding, and targeted straight at beginners who just want to be ready. That stops now. This video is your line in the sand. We're exposing 11 of the most overhyped, underperforming fake survival products flooding the market today. And we're not just calling them out, we'll show you what to get instead. Let's clean up your kit and make sure you're prepped for reality, not for Instagram. Number 1. Cheap flashlights from discount stores. It looks bright, it feels light, and it only costs a few bucks. But in a real emergency, that discount store flashlight, it'll fail you when you need it most. Let's get this straight, light is life in a collapse. Whether you're navigating dark hallways, fixing gear at night, or watching your perimeter, reliable illumination is non-negotiable. But those $5 flashlights you see hanging at checkout counters or online survival deals, they're built to sell, not to survive. The problems start with the power. Most cheap flashlights use off-brand LED bulbs that overheat fast or flicker after 10 minutes. Combine that with weak batteries and unregulated current, and you've got a beam that starts strong, then fades to nothing before the hour's up. Drop one of these things once, and good luck turning it back on. Their plastic housings crack, the battery connections loosen, the lens fogs up if there's even a hint of moisture, and forget about waterproofing, most of them barely survive a drizzle. Stat check. A 2021 Consumer Gear Review tested 20 low-cost flashlights under stress. More than 70% failed the water test. Over 50% dimmed below usable levels within 40 minutes on a full charge. Now picture this. You're bugging out through a wooded trail at night. Or the power's down for 3 days, and you're trying to keep your home safe. And all you've got is a dying beam that flickers like a haunted house bulb. That's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Even worse, these flashlights give you a false sense of security. You think you're covered, so you don't test or upgrade. Then reality hits and the dark closes in. Your prep tip: invest in 1 or 2 high-quality tactical flashlights. Look for aluminum housing, rubber gaskets, IPX6 or better waterproof rating, and minimum 300 lumen output with a strobe function. Brands like Fenix, Olight, and Streamlight have proven reliability. Keep spare batteries sealed and store 1 light in your go bag, 1 near your bed, and 1 in your vehicle. Also, test your flashlights monthly. Check battery health, lens clarity, and switch reliability. Because when it's dark, silent, and every sound could be a threat, you don't need a flashy gadget. You need a beam that cuts through the chaos, and that $5 flashlight, it'll leave you in the dark. Number 2. Dollar Store Foil Emergency Blankets. You've probably seen them, those shiny silver emergency blankets folded into palm-sized packs, stacked near the counter at dollar stores or bundled in budget survival kits. They promise warmth, insulation, and survival. But here's the truth. Most of them are straight-up garbage. Real Mylar blankets are designed to reflect your body heat and protect you from wind and cold. But the ones sold in discount stores? They're usually low-grade knockoffs, made with ultra-thin, brittle material that tears the moment you unfold it. Try wrapping yourself in one during a windy night and you'll quickly learn how useless it is. They flap like tissue paper, won't stay in place, and tear if you move even a little. Once it's ripped, it's done. No warmth, no shield, just shiny trash. Now imagine being cold, wet, and exposed. Your core body temp is dropping. Hypothermia is setting in. And all you have is a foil sheet that rips like cheap wrapping paper. Stat check. In a 2022 field test by an independent survival school, 9 out of 10 dollar store emergency blankets tore during basic use in wind or rain conditions. That's not just failure, that's betrayal in a survival scenario. These blankets also don't insulate well. They're reflective, yes, but they offer no real barrier against cold ground or air. That reflective coating works only if it stays intact and close to your body, which rarely happens in a real-world emergency. Worst of all, people stock up on these thinking they're set for cold weather survival. False confidence is dangerous. You might pack 5 of these thinking you're smart, but when it matters, none of them work like they should. Your prep tip: skip the $1 foil sheets and invest in military-grade or NASA-certified Mylar blankets. Or better yet, buy a reusable bivy sack or survival sleeping bag made of reinforced Mylar. These are tear-resistant, windproof, and can actually save your life. Also, test one before you need it. Practice wrapping up, lying down, and sealing it properly. You'll know right away if it's worth keeping or tossing. Because in a real survival scenario, your heart is your life. And if your emergency blanket tears the moment you need it, you're not wrapped in safety. You're wrapped in failure. Number 3, budget keychain multi-tools. They look clever, they look compact, and for under $10 they feel like a smart survival buy. But those keychain multi-tools with bottle openers, mini screwdrivers, emergency blades, and rulers squeezed into one piece of stamped steel, they're just dead weight. These tools are built more for novelty than for survival. The metal is often soft, poorly machined, and prone to bending under real stress. Try using that 2-inch blade to cut cordage or shave kindling in freezing wind. It won't hold an edge. It won't even hold up. Those tiny screwdriver tips strip after a few turns, and most of the features only work if you have perfect angles and zero pressure, 2 things you'll never have in a real-world collapse. Worse, they're hard to grip. Small frame, no ergonomic control, and no leverage means every use is a chore. And forget about repairs. You're not fixing your generator or shelter bracket with a screwdriver the size of a matchstick. Stat check. A 2023 gear audit by an independent survival gear group found that 78% of budget keychain tools failed during basic field tasks like cutting zip ties, unscrewing a latch, or slicing cardboard. That's not just inconvenient, it's false security disguised as EDC gear. These things appeal because they're small and shiny. But what people don't realize is that these tools aren't meant to last. They're meant to be gifted, collected, or tossed in a drawer. In a grid-down situation, that clever-looking multi-tool turns into a complete liability. You'll waste precious time trying to make it work when you should be getting the job done. Your prep tip: replace that gimmick with a real EDC tool. Go for a compact folding knife with a locking blade, or a high-quality mini multi-tool like the Leatherman-style PS or Skeletool. These are still pocket-sized, but they're built for use, not looks. And remember, reliability beats gadget count every time. Your survival gear isn't supposed to impress anyone. It's supposed to work when your life depends on it. So ditch the bottle opener shaped like a ninja star. Toss the steel credit card tactical tool with 15 useless functions. Because in a real emergency, you don't need novelty metal on your keychain. You need real steel that can cut, twist, grip, and hold under pressure. That budget keychain tool? It won't survive 5 minutes of real-world use, and if you're depending on it, neither will you. Number 4. Knockoff paracord bracelets. They look rugged, they scream survival, and every newbie prepper seems to have one clipped to their wrist or backpack. But most of these so-called paracord survival bracelets are nothing more than weak cordage, plastic gimmicks, and false confidence wrapped around your arm. The problem? They're marketed as real emergency gear, but the cord inside isn't even close to authentic 550 paracord. Instead, it's a cheap nylon imitation with no internal strands or strength rating. Real 550 cord contains 7 inner strands, each made of 2 or 3 smaller yarns, capable of holding up to 550 pounds of static weight. The knockoff versions? Snap at 80 to 100 pounds, sometimes less. That's not going to support your gear, build a shelter, or rig a trap. And don't get me started on the so-called tools built into these bracelet-steeny compasses that never point north, plastic whistles that barely squeak, and ferro rods so small they can't produce a usable spark unless you're in a lab environment. Stat check. A 2022 field test by Gear Junkie reviewed 15 paracord bracelets sold online under $10. Only 3 had genuine 550 cord. The rest broke, frayed, or had fake interiors made of string or foam. That's dangerous. Because in a survival situation, you're expecting this bracelet to save your life to tie down a tarp, hang food from a tree, or splint a broken limb. But when it unravels into nothing but decorative thread, your plan falls apart, literally. And worse, These bracelets give you a false sense of being ready. You wear it, show it off, feel tactical without realizing it's dead weight. That's not prepping, that's cosplay. Your prep tip. If you want real cordage on hand, buy verified military spec 550 paracord and keep 25-50 feet rolled in your pack or pocket. Want a bracelet? Make your own using real cord. Plenty of tutorials exist, and at least you'll know it's legit. Ditch the ones with bottle openers, dull blades, or other plastic junk shoved into them. They break, they fail, and they distract from what matters: strength, reliability, and simplicity. Because when you're out in the wild, trying to secure gear in high wind, set traps, or pull someone out of danger, you don't need a decorative string on your wrist. You need real, tested cordage that won't fail when it matters. That knockoff bracelet? It's not a survival tool, it's a fashion accessory that'll betray you the second things get real. Number 5. Inexpensive hand crank radios with flashlight combos. They seem like a smart buy on the surface: a flashlight, a radio, and sometimes even a USB charger, all packed into one neat little device that you can power by cranking a handle. Sounds genius, right? Until you actually need it. These cheap combo gadgets are one of the biggest traps in budget prepping. They're marketed as all-in-one survival solutions, but in reality, they do everything poorly. The flashlight is usually dim, the battery dies quickly, and the crank mechanism? It's built like a toy. After a few uses, it starts grinding, slipping, or completely locks up. Worse, the internal batteries often don't hold a charge for long, and many of these devices rely on non-replaceable lithium cells that degrade fast in heat or cold. So when you finally go to use it in a blackout or bug-out situation, you crank like crazy just to get a few minutes of weak radio reception or a flickering light. And the USB port that promises to charge your phone? Good luck. Most of these units output less than 5 volts at barely 200 milliamps, which isn't enough to even boost a dead phone 1%. Stat check. In a 2021 review by PrepperTech, 16 budget crank radios were tested under stress. Only 2 delivered acceptable results for power, signal clarity, and crank durability. The rest either failed, broke, or produced unusable output after light use. Some even had antennas that snapped off or flashlights that stopped working after minor drops. And let's not forget, when you try to combine 3 or 4 life-critical functions into one dirt-cheap device, something's gonna give. Usually, it's everything. You're much better off having separate, specialized tools: a reliable hand crank radio with NOAA weather alerts, a standalone tactical flashlight with tested lumen output, and a power bank that can actually charge a phone when needed. Your prep tip: if you absolutely want a crank radio, spend on a trusted brand, something tested in field conditions like the Midland ER310 or the Kaido Voyager Pro. Look for replaceable batteries, solar panels as backup, and actual water resistance ratings. But don't be fooled by $15 emergency radio combos that promise the world in a plastic shell. They're not multi-tools, they're multi-failures. Because when the grid's down, the storm is moving in, and communication is life or death, you don't want a gadget that dies faster than your signal. You want gear that works. Always. Every time. No matter what. Number 6. Uncertified water pouches and filters. When it comes to survival, clean water isn't optional, it's everything. That's why it's terrifying how many people stockpile unverified, uncertified water pouches and cheap water filters, assuming they'll be good enough when disaster hits. Spoiler, they won't walk into any bargain survival section or scroll through discount prepping websites, and you'll see these vacuum-sealed silver pouches labeled emergency water, along with plastic straws and pump filters that claim to purify hundreds of gallons. But look closely, most of them have no expiration date, no NSF or ANSI certification, and no proof of testing. The water inside those pouches might have been purified years ago, or worse, never properly treated at all. The packaging breaks down over time, especially if stored in heat, and you could end up drinking leached chemicals or bacteria-laced water without even knowing. And those budget filters? Many only remove sediment and odor, not bacteria, protozoa, or viruses. That's a shortcut to getting seriously ill at the worst possible time. Stat check. A 2020 independent review of 30 water pouches and filters found that nearly half failed to meet basic potable water standards. Some filters were just mesh screens. Some pouches had microbial growth visible under UV light. It's the illusion of safety. You think you're covered because you've got a few pouches in your bug-out bag or a straw in your glove box, but when the real test comes, they crumble. This kind of gear breeds false confidence. You drink it in an emergency thinking it's clean, and next thing you know, you're doubled over, dehydrated, or worse. In a collapse, there are no ER visits. There's no backup IV line. That sip of water is either safe or it's a threat. Your prep tip: only buy water pouches from trusted brands with printed expiration dates and government compliance, like Coast Guard approval. Store them in a cool, dark place and rotate them out every 5 years. As for filters go, with brands like Sawyer, Mini, LifeStraw, or Berkey, all of which have clear certifications and proven field results. Better yet, carry a 2-layer system, one filter for particles and bacteria, and tablets or drops for viruses. Water is your #1 priority in every emergency, so don't gamble with fake filtration or expired pouches that were never safe to begin with. Because in survival, the wrong water doesn't just make you sick, it takes you out of the game entirely. Number 7. Fake tactical pens. They're sleek, metallic, and often sold as the ultimate low-profile self-defense tool. Tactical pens that double as glass breakers, DNA collectors, and emergency writing tools. But here's the ugly truth. Most of these pens are complete garbage, especially the ones flooding online marketplaces under generic brand names. They look tough, but they're made from soft aluminum or thin steel that bends or dents with the slightest pressure. Try to actually break glass with one and you'll either crack the pen or hurt your hand. In testing, most budget models fail at their core promise. They can't punch through tempered car glass, even with full force, which is supposed to be their most critical function in emergencies like car accidents or flooding. The glass breaker tip is often nothing more than a blunt cone, poorly machined and attached with weak threading that loosens over time. Some versions even come with plastic tips painted to look metal. It's all cosmetic, not functional. Stat check. In a 2021 Impact Tool review, 12 low-cost tactical pens were tested on auto glass and hard plastic. Only one succeeded without breaking. 9 bent or cracked on impact, and 2 failed at the clip level before the tip even hit the surface. That's not a tool, that's a liability. Then there's the self-defense myth. You think you're carrying a discreet weapon, but if it bends in your hand or breaks on impact, it won't save you, it'll leave you vulnerable. Worse, you may hesitate to carry real self-defense tools because you believe this pen has your back. That's the real danger, substituting effective protection with a gimmick. Even as a writing instrument, these pens are often clunky. Poor ink flow, loose caps, fragile clipsets all form over function. And again, you end up packing false confidence into your bug-out bag or EDC kit, thinking you've got backup when you really don't. Your prep tip. If you want a real tactical pen, expect to pay a bit more and stick to reputable brands. UZI, Gerber, or Smith & Wesson make models that are tested and built with aircraft-grade aluminum and tungsten tips. But ask yourself this: do you really need your pen to do everything? Or would a solid flashlight, a real glass breaker, and a quality pen each serve better on their own? Survival gear shouldn't multitask poorly. It should perform every time. That fake tactical pen? It's not self-defense. It's a shiny, false promise waiting to fail when you need it most. Number 8. Survival credit card tools. They're marketed as the ultimate space-saving survival hack. Flat, metal cards that slide into your wallet and promise 18-in-1 functionality. Bottle opener, screwdriver, saw blade, wrench, can opener, ruler, you name it. It's supposedly crammed into this sleek piece of steel. But when things get real, these survival credit card tools turn out to be nothing but glorified novelty items. The steel is usually low grade and prone to bending or dulling after just 1 or 2 uses. Try sawing with that micro-serrated edge and you'll quickly realize it's just a jagged decoration. It won't cut twigs, let alone branches. The can opener is more like a glorified hook that barely gets under the lid without slipping or cutting your hand. And don't even get me started on the wrench sizes stamped into the frame. Most don't fit anything snugly, and the tool itself is so thin you can't apply real torque without slicing your palm open. Stat check. In a 2023 EDC field test, out of 20 popular credit card tools reviewed, 0 were able to successfully complete a basic 5-task survival challenge that included cutting cordage, opening a can, and tightening a bolt. Most either bent, slipped, or failed to deliver enough grip to even be usable. The reality is, this thing is sold for its novelty, not its performance. It looks cool in your bug-out wallet or Instagram post, but when your life depends on tools that actually work, you'll curse yourself for wasting time and money on this metal coaster. Even worse, it gives people the illusion they're prepared because they've got 18 tools in their pocket, when in truth, they don't even have one functional one. Your prep tip: don't fall for the minimalist fantasy. If you want to carry compact tools, invest in a real mini multi-tool from brands like Victorinox, Leatherman, or Gerber tools with actual moving parts. ergonomic grips, and steel that won't fold like foil. Or go modular, carry a folding knife, a small driver, and a keychain pry bar separately. They'll take up a little more room, but they'll actually work when it counts. Because when you're facing a real emergency, your tactical card won't build shelter, open cans, or fix gear. It'll just sit in your wallet flat, flashy, and totally useless. A survival tool that looks good and does nothing? That's not gear, it's dead weight. Number 9. Emergency glow sticks. They're sold in packs of 6, labeled as 12-hour emergency light, and often tossed into bug-out bags like they're a foolproof backup. But most of the glow sticks you find at party stores, dollar stores, or unverified online shops aren't survival tools, they're party favors dressed in orange and camo. These things might glow in the dark, sure, but they're not bright enough to light a room, read a map, or signal anyone from a distance. The glow is weak, often fades after a couple of hours, and in many cases the chemical formula inside is unstable or inconsistent. You'll crack one expecting a bright emergency beacon and get a weak fading blur instead. Some even leak or fail to activate completely. Stat check. In a 2022 light test conducted by Urban Prep Review, 20 glow stick brands were activated in a blackout scenario. Only 4 lasted longer than 6 hours, and just 2 were visible from more than 10 feet in total darkness. The others either faded fast or glowed so dimly they were practically useless. And let's not forget these things are one-time use. Once you crack it, it's done. That means if you're packing glow sticks as your only fallback light, you better hope the power only goes out once. Many people think they're being smart by stockpiling cheap packs, but what they don't realize is that most low-cost glow sticks have a short shelf life, degrade in heat, and offer no real functional light. And in a crisis, dim light isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. You can trip, miss crucial supplies, or fail to see threats. Your prep tip: if you're going to use glow sticks, stick to military-grade chem lights from brands like Cyalume that are tested for brightness and shelf stability. But more importantly, don't rely on them as your primary light source. A small LED flashlight with spare batteries, a headlamp with a long runtime, or even a rechargeable lantern will outperform glow sticks every single time. Use glow sticks for what they are: backup signaling or temporary lighting in specific situations, but never mistake them for real gear. Because when the power's out, your visibility is everything. And if your emergency glow stick dies before you even finish searching your bag, you're not in control. You've just seen 11 fake prepper items that look tactical, feel smart, and are sold like they'll save your life. But here's the harsh truth: they won't. In a real crisis, there's no room for dead weight, broken tools, or false hope. Because out there, it's not about how your gear looks. It's about whether it works when everything else doesn't. The wrong gear gives you confidence right up until it costs you everything. And by the time you realize what's fake, it's already too late. That's why this channel doesn't just throw lists at you, we call out the lies. We break the fluff. We cut through the noise so you can prepare smarter, not just louder. So if this video opened your eyes 7 for 1 second, you already know what to do. Smash that subscribe button right now. Because next week, we're dropping more gear traps, vanishing essentials, and what the survival industry won't tell you until it's too late. Don't prep with junk. Don't survive with guesswork. Subscribe now. Stay sharp, and don't get played when the system breaks.